we have a fun game lined up for everyone. Sandra, we are about to play What is More Likely to Happen?
Oh,
This or that. Are we going to drop a little disclaimer at the start of this segment? Did we decide if we were going to do that or not?
you
I don't
know what?
remember.
You should if that's where your heart's going, Lisa, you should go there.
Okay, so this was a really fun game that our producer Mark came up with where we have two scenarios and we have to pick which one is more likely to happen. Now, Sandra and I have our analytical soccer NWSL US Women's National Team brains always turned on. So sometimes these were hard for us to pick this or that because both things can be true. But we chose to take fun sides in this one that may or may not fully reflect our, our opinion in order to have fun. So we chose the game and having fun over maybe a little bit of like everything that we believe in our heart. Because two things, Sandra, can be true at the same
Correct.
time. Two
Correct.
things can be true. Okay, so let's dive into this game. If you are joining us live on YouTube, as a reminder for anyone listening as a podcast, we go live 11 a.m. Eastern Time every single Wednesday morning. Join this game in our chat. We want to know from you this or that, which side you are picking. Sandra, with 10 games left in the NWSL season as we enter this summer break, there is one thing that has happened one time, and that is the balls at CPKC Stadium going into the Missouri River. So, will there be more game balls going into the Missouri River outside CPKC Stadium, or more North Carolina Courage road wins? As of right now, July 10th, when we entered this summer break, it's
Oh,
tied 1-1. Shawinga had one ball go in the Missouri River at CPKC Stadium, and North Carolina picked up one road win so far in the season at Audi Field against Washington, D.C. So this or that, game balls or North Carolina road wins?
look, it's no disrespect to North Carolina Courage. They have struggled on the road. It's no secret. But once Temwa Chewinga got that ball in that Missouri River, it was like a new intoxicating substance. I said, I need some more. So I'm gonna go with more Missouri River balls. I hope we get them. I hope this was the breakthrough. I hope it was. Now that it's happened, anything is possible, and we could see it happen. Now, is it gonna just be like a Chewinga special? I think that's the sub question for me. Like, is she gonna be the only one that gets those in the back of the river? I hope not, but I would like to see it. And who knows? Maybe with the Summer Cup we'll get a lot of different boots through some balls during this time of the Olympic break. And maybe we'll get to see that Missouri River ball one more time instead of a road win for Courage because it's been tough for them to get those.
I think Kansas City is also on your side for this one because after Shawinga put that river goal into the Missouri River, they created a drink at
Ah,
CPKC Stadium, an espresso martini called a river goal. Absolutely hilarious. So I think Kansas City's on your side. I'm not, though. North Carolina is going to pick up more road wins. The first one that they got at Audi Field, 1-0 win over Washington Spirit. Shout out to Ashley Sanchez for the game-winning goal for the Courage in that match. This is the domino that is going to blow up North Carolina's season, especially because if you look at where North Carolina plays on the road in this final 10 matches of the season, four of their five road games for North Carolina are against bottom table teams, and North Carolina is going to win. August 25th, North Carolina plays at Seattle. Then in September, North Carolina plays at San Diego. They play at Racing Louisville, who they just beat at home despite going down one goal early on. North Carolina rallies back to win 3-1. They play at Chicago. That's a top half table team. But then they play at Bay FC. So not only is North Carolina going to pull it together with their road wins and pick up more and more as the season goes on, but they also have a downward slope to get there because they are playing against bottom table teams. Shout out Sean Nahas, North Carolina. You guys got this. Don't let me down on my this or that. Come
well,
on.
hey, two things could be true. Let's get them all. Let's get them both.
That is absolutely true. Okay, let us know in the chat or comment as a podcast if you're listening. More North Carolina Courage road wins or more game balls going into the Missouri River. All right, we have another one. Number two of our this or that. This Casey Stoney comes back into the NWSL as a coach. She was released from San Diego a few weeks ago. Or Angel City head coach Becky Tweed gets fired. Which one, Sandra, are you thinking?
So I want to preface this by saying when we were doing this segment, we were like, there's probably going to be a category which could maybe be a little bit spicy. And I will just continue this preface by saying I'm never someone to advocate for someone's termination. But as it's presented here on Attacking Third, realistically speaking, there's a summer cup that's going to happen right now for teams. And then when this Olympic break is over and they return to the regular season, all of these clubs will have just 10 remaining games to figure things out for that playoff line. As you're one of those bottom half table teams, you're looking, I think, at eighth place. Like that's your miracle run. You're like, we just have to get eighth. And I think if you're Angel City, it's agonizing at this point to know that that exists because this is a team I think that has struggled with turning some of these good performances into wins. We've seen some good effort from LaRue, Thompson sisters, but with some of these losses, there's been so many questions about the coaching staff and when and where and how and why things aren't panning out the way that really this franchise expected in this next season because Becky Tweed was given the reins of this team because of that incredible second half turnaround that the team responded to. So I think in this particular scenario, I actually think it's more likely that they have a conversation with Becky Tweed as a
Ooh.
dismissal than Casey Stoney getting in this season because maybe they give Tweed till the end of the season and maybe they don't go to the playoffs and maybe they have a conversation with Tweed. I also want to add in the very complex layer of the reporting that we've seen recently around new money and new ownership coming into Angel City. Y'all, when it comes to the sports business side of things, when you get a new influx of resources and money and ownership, sometimes they want to go in different directions. And within the reporting that we've seen, one of those things that was in this slideshow or presentation that is being presented by future potential Disney ownership is that they want to set new and better standards for Angel City. And sometimes that might mean some turnover, and sometimes that might mean a coaching change.
Casey Stoney is way too good of a coach that there are currently 3 coaching vacancies in the NWSL: Portland Thorns, Utah Royals, and San Diego, where she was let go. A team is going to grab her up before the season is done. Casey Stoney will be back in the NWSL as a coach. Sandra, she just moved her entire family to America from England, specifically in San Diego. However, Portland and Utah, 2 clubs with coaching vacancies also on the West Coast, not too far from San Diego.
Yes.
There are a plethora of options for Casey Stoney. Mind you, Stoney also signed a 4-year contract extension. So she planned the next 4 years of her life to be on the West Coast, to be in the NWSL, to be in America. That's why she brought her family here. She is way too good of a coach that if Portland or Utah are sleeping on her, that is just mind blowing to me. Casey Stoney will be back in the NWSL. I have no doubt about it. She's coming back. She has to.
I hope so. I hope so. And who knows? We're talking about 2 California teams. Maybe there's more to this that we have to revisit in the future.
There's also expansion sides coming
Yep.
back into the NWSL, right? Boston has already been announced. There's
Yeah.
another team to be announced. That's a little bit farther down the road, but I mean, Portland would be silly not to start talking to San Diego right now, or talking to Casey Stoney right now
Yes.
about how they
Don't
can get her in.
disagree.
Utah.
Yeah.
Utah, this is an expansion side that has struggled in their first season. Casey Stoney led an expansion side in San Diego to the playoffs, to a Shield win in just their second season, to a Challenge Cup title win in just her third season. She's picked up more trophies than a number of other coaches in the league already. She has the experience to build a club, to lay a foundation, to bring in players, superstar players, and help lift them up. Casey Stoney, I mean, give it time, Sandra. Give it a couple more weeks. She'll be back in the NWSL hands down.
I love that you're putting the timeline on it too, buddy. Let's go.
All right, our final this or that. Which one is more likely to happen? This is talking NWSL as a league overall. This NWSL expands their awards categories first, or an NWSL All Star game happens first. Let us know if you're joining us live on YouTube in the comments which one you think is more likely to happen, more NWSL awards categories or an All Star game. Sandra, I'm tossing it to you. This or that?
All right. I'm so hyped for this because I think if it's a scenario of there can only be one, I'm fine either way because I love this type of stuff. But a couple of months back, whenever I do a vibe check for cbssports.com, it's where people can tune in and get my unfiltered takes on certain things across women's soccer, or maybe I'll drop in a little bit of reporting, things I've heard, things I've been privy to. And sometimes I'll just like go off and have a little bit of fun. And one of the things that captivated me earlier this season was how we were watching so many incredible individual performances across the board in the league. The Golden Boot race got off to a very hot start. We saw some renaissance type of performances for players. And it got me thinking, like, it's time to expand those end of year awards. There's the typical five that the league has always gone with. At the end of the year, we find ourselves voting for an MVP, for defender of the year, goalkeeper, rookie, and coach of the year. And I think in this next decade of NWSL, it's time to add a couple of more individual awards. I would love to see a newcomer of the year award. I think along with Golden Boot and MVP, Barbara Banda, Temwa Chawinga are players that would compete for that one as well. I would love to see a most improved player because just looking at Orlando, for example, I love what Summer Yates has produced for
Yeah.
the Pride. I think that would be a player who would be absolutely in the running for that award if it existed. And a lot of other leagues also have something like executive of the year. And I think that there are candidates for that as well in this league, even if we're just utilizing this season as an example. What Yael Averbush West did for Gotham in this offseason, incredible with this super team. Haley Carter and Orlando Pride, incredible. So you've got candidates in the running there. But I'd also maybe like to see something a little different or maybe unique. I'm kind of referring to it as like a legacy player award.
Oh, I like
Maybe
that.
like maybe like an opportunity for more kind of longer term players in the league to maybe get some of that end of year recognition for a particular career year that they're having. I think when I initially wrote this concept, Vanessa DiBernardo was having an incredible start with Kansas City. She's dealing with some injury right now. She can come back and still obviously put together an incredible longer season run. But she was in my mind as a player for a legacy award, or even Martha at this point with Orlando and what she's doing. She's looking like not even a version of her old self. She's looking like a new version of Martha. And I think that's really awesome too. So I want to see expanded end of year awards for NWSL. And I think that could happen first before an all-star game happens.
As much as I want to see expanded awards, more awards given out, always more trophies, NWSL All Star Game is going to happen first, Sandra. It just is. I chatted with NWSL Commissioner Jessica Berman specifically about an All Star Game when she joined Morning Footy. And she said straight up, hey, I'm not going to say that it hasn't been discussed. And all the best ideas are being put on the table. And Berman, the commissioner of the league, said that she was at the MLS All Star Game in DC last year. She also saw the Skills Challenge and she liked that. So NWSL incorporated the Skills Challenge last year at the NWSL Championship. They had an All Stars Skills Challenge. So that's a step in the right direction. Berman also said that she's confident that there will be many opportunities to celebrate our great stars. The idea of an NWSL All Star game is amazing because think of it from the league's perspective. They can sell tickets to this, they can sell merch, they can promote every single team in the NWSL, or right, most of them should have an all star on it. They can create two NWSL all star teams, a blue and a red, whatever they want, and go at each other, an East and a West, and the two all star teams go at each other. And There are some people saying in our comments, hey, there's already too many games, schedule congestion. This is at the end of the year. No, this is at the end of the year, during championship week, wherever that happens and when that comes a thing in the NWSL. They're going to have an all-star game because that is just a great way to get fans in and around the game, showcasing them to different players. And then, yeah, we are going to get to see a Temwa Shawinga and a Barbara Banda on the same team. Hands down, all-star game is going to happen first.
From your lips to the soccer gods' ears, may they bless us with an all-star game.
Busy watching women's soccer is joining us live on YouTube right now, and they said a small-sided all-star game called by attacking third would be so fun. So busy watching women's soccer from your lips to
Oh,
the
let's
ears of the
go.
people that make all of this happen. I am so in on that. Sandra, this was really fun. We just did 3, this or that, but we did put out a poll on YouTube for those joining us live about our first one, this or that, more game balls in the Missouri River at CPKC Stadium or more North Carolina Courage road wins. These results neck in neck. More
Oh
game
my,
balls in the river, 51%, and more North Carolina Courage road wins,
I'll take it.
49%. It doesn't get much closer than that. Absolutely. This was really fun. Let us know if you want us to do any more of these, if you like them, if you have any ideas for us to do this or that. Sandra and I can go head to head and battle against each other.